Kitkat looking for the resisted Volt Switch farm down, unfortunately Decidueye makes a last second charge move. Finally Kitkat invests that Protect Shield. The opponent thinking about what they want to send out. Old Trainer, that's a mistake. So they don't know about that Focus Blast coverage. They're about to find out. Welcome back to the channel. Today leagues are rotating, but that is not going to stop me putting out over a 30-minute video in the Open Ultra League. Today's battles are submitted to the channel by KitkatDelux. Firstly, shout out to girls that PvP. What's interesting about Kitkat is she hasn't actually been playing this game all that long. This is her 4th season of GBL. In her 2nd season, she was able to reach Veteran, which is very impressive. Last season, she hit Expert for the first time and got all the way up to 2950, I believe, but unfortunately did not hit Legend. So today we're going to take a look at her gameplay. She's using a full team of non-XL Pokemon. And that would be because, as I said, she hasn't played all that long and she's not even level 40. I believe she's level 39. Not only is this team fully non-XL, we've actually got no legacy moves as well, which makes this team quite accessible. We do have one legendary Pokemon in the form of Virizion, but it's not using this legacy move of Sacred Sword. Instead, we're opting for the coverage move of Stone Edge. Our back 2 Pokemon are both weak to ground, so this will function somewhat as an ABB team. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, Kitkat sees a rough lead, leading Virizion into Articuno. We retreat into our Kanto Muck, the opponent debuff us with the Icy Wind and then send out Giratina. Unfortunately, now we're debuffed, this Dark Pulse doesn't do all that much damage. Kanto Muck, despite being non-XL, has a very nice stat product in the Ultra League. You can see we can withstand the Dragon Claw and the Dragon Breaths and make Dark Pulse number 2. So it makes sense the opponent debuffed us as they're now not forced to invest a Protect Shield. Kanto Muck puts in a whole heap of work getting Giratina into the red. Both Volt Switch and Double Kick will be resisted, so this Giratina will still be somewhat of an issue to get rid of. Kitkat sends out Ampharos, the opponent throw the charge move immediately, of course, which is terrible fast move timing. They could have thrown 3 Dragon Breaths and the charge movers, but they're always going to sneak that Volt Switch. Kitkat shields up the Dragon Claw, commits to the full Volt Switch farm down. We leave low with a whole heap of energy. The opponent sends out Cresselia, and it's time to start spamming out Brutal Swing after Brutal Swing. The first Brutal Swing forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Ampharos fires off Brutal Swing number 2, and the opponent actually chooses to invest both Protect Shields. Kitkat able to reach Brutal Swing number 3 on the CMP tie. And just like that, from a rough spot, Wincon has been found. Ampharos has done its job. Grass Knot secures the knockout. We send back out Virizion. The opponent sends out Articuno. And if the opponent don't know about that rock type coverage, they're about to find out. Stone Edge, double super effective. Get that Articuno out of here. Despite landing that very satisfying huge boom, this game isn't quite over. We find ourselves in the bait game. Kitkat with 1 Protect Shield too high behind calls the bait. What a call. And just like that, Kitkat thoroughly outplays our opponent and is going to be off to a 1-0 start. This Leaf Blade isn't quite going to be lethal. However, we can just shield up whatever Cresselia throws, commit to the Double Kick farm down, and we're going to take that game. GG's. Heading into the next battle, the tough leads continue with Virizion into Tentacruel. We see their pivot once again into Kanto Muck, drawing out Greedent. Whenever I see Tentacruel in the lead, with a Greedent Safe Switch, I immediately think of Home Size Henry's team with Guzzlord in the back. So I think unless we can flip switch, which is highly unlikely, I think we're going to get RPS for the lost. Kitkat lands the Dark Pulse, which is always the correct move to throw when both moves hit for neutral, as Dark Pulse is better DP than Thunder Punch. Kitkat able to reach Dark Pulse number 2 on the CMP tie, but it just doesn't do enough damage. We will survive this, but I think if you shield, 4 Poison Jabs won't knock out, so Kitkat will be forced to double shield to try and flip switch. You can see Greedent does get a very nice Mud Shot farm down. We send in Virizion to operate as the damage sponge. On the moveset Kitkat's got on her Ampharos, she wouldn't be completely walled by a Guzzlord, but we would need to somehow try and land a Focus Blast. It isn't Guzzlord in the back, it's Registeel. Speaking of Focus Blast, Kitkat is not baiting, full sends it. Focus Blast lands through 2 shields. We get another huge boom. Kitkat did tell me we're going to see booms landing left, right and centre. And she is not joking. We're only 2 battles in and we're 2 for 2 on huge booms. Once again, after hard losing lead, Kitkat finds herself in a very advantageous spot, which we can put down to, in a large part, the fact that she is not baiting, she's full sending nukes. Kitkat tanks the Scold, Banks the brutal swing, pivots out into Virizion, throws the leaf blade, forcing the opponent's final protect shield. The opponent opts to throw a Scald. Virizion will withstand the damage, and we should be able to reach one further leaf blade. This will certainly put the opponent into brutal swing range. Leaf blade leaves the opponent deep into the red. We exited with the charge move, and it's going to be high Squidworth by Squidworth. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. We lead Virizion into Talonflame. Holy cow, Kitkat. Who have you pissed off as it's lost lead after lost lead? Again, we see Kitkat utilise the Kanto Moxay switch, and it looks like the opponent hasn't really got a great response. We land the Thunder Punch, and this should now allow us to flip switch. Kitkat can tank any one move, and if I was Kitkat, I'd just now shield once and commit to the full Poison Jab farm down. Let's see if that's the play Kitkat opts to go for. Yes, we see the shield deployed. Kanto Mox's going to get a very nice Poison Jab farm down. We've almost got double Thunder Punch. Back out comes Talonflame. We should have thrown 2 Poison Jabs. We're definitely not in 1 Incinerate range. However, regardless, we're still able to make Thunder Punch number 2. But getting off them 2 extra Poison Jabs would have been nice. Kitkat forces both Protect Shields. Sends out Ampharos. 9-6. Fix your fucking game. Where's our quick move? We see the opponent blind throw a Fly, anticipating Virizion returning. Of course, both Flame Charge and Fly would hit for super effective, but Fly would be double super effective. Kitkat certainly is not complaining. 2 brutal swings will knock out Giratina from a shadow. However, we need to leave some farm on this Giratina to get ahead in energy. Kitkat has very high gameplay IQ, recognises her win con, goes for an undercharge, and then we see the pivot into Virizion. Despite Kitkat being relatively new to the game, she's already displaying very high gameplay IQ. We're going to tank a few Dragon Claws. The opponent aggressively pivot out into the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death, and it's going to be high Talonflame by Talonflame. Get wrecked. Back out comes Giratina, and Kitkat pulls off another very impressive dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, yikes, another hard lost lead. We're going to utilise our Kanto Moxay switch, the opponent farm up some energy, and then send out the stupid Tin Can Registeel. Things look bad, and now they've got even worse, as this is a very hard check for Kanto Mox. You can see these non-stab Dark Pulses do absolutely nothing. It looks like even 4 won't be lethal, and then the opponent apply that debuff effect, so we're probably going to need now at least 5. Let's see how much this does. With the Poison Jabs, probably 4 would still be lethal. However, the opponent is going to outpace. Kitkat, though, undeterred, fires off the next Dark Pulse on the CMP tie, which is best case scenario. Reggie is now energy dry, so perhaps if we go for the world's most aggressive double kick farm down, we could Stone Edge Pidgeot, the opponent not wanting to get farmed down aggressively, send out the bird, and we answer with Ampharos. The opponent, of course, go for the Feather Dance. A possible team comp from the opponent is Flyer, Double Tank. When I say Double Tank, I mean 2 bulky things weak to fighters. Perhaps Kitkat has some play here. The opponent have now debuffed us by 4 stages. Kitkat going to respect the potential Brave Bird and then commit to the aggressive Volt Switch farm down. Ampharos does leave at 100 energy. However, we're so debuffed. Back out comes Registeel. We full send a Focus Blast. Focus Blast, even 4 stage debuff, does secure the knockout. Oof, that wasn't what we want to see. Our switch timer is up, so I would have liked seeing Kitkat pivot, banking all the energy on Ampharos, resetting a debuff, and then fire off non-debuff brutal swings. At this stage now, the win con is going to be to land a Stone Edge. Kitkat farms up to the Stone Edge baits with the Leaf Blade, forcing a Protect Shield. Is this winnable? We do survive the disarming voice. Kitkat this time going to full send the Stone Edge. Come on, trainer. Let it go. Please let it go. No, the opponent shields, and we're going to concede the match. You can't win them all. 5 for 5 on lost leads. I'm sure by now you recognise what we're going to do. We send out Kanto Mox. The opponent stay in, chip us with the Dragon Claw. Kanto Mox doesn't care. Despite us being a Shadow Dragonite, we easily withstand the damage. The opponent make a very nice catch, catching the Thunder Punch onto Trevenant. Very nice from the opponent. I have a Kanto Mox, still able to reach the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse should be forcing a protection, which it does. The opponent now going to get a very nice Shadow Claw farm down. Kitkat has gained herself shield advantage in the mid game. The opponent farms up to 100 energy. Kitkat respects the potential Shadow Ball. The opponent bait with the Seed Bomb. The opponent then attempts to trap us into a CMP target Kitkat, not falling for any of that nonsense, correctly shields up the Shadow Ball, then over farms before firing off the Brutal Swing. Ampharos. Trevenant is actually IV dependent, however Trevenant generally wins. Back out comes Dragonite, we fire off the Brutal Swing forces the final Protect Shield, and we then send back out Virizion. I'm sure you all know that Shadow Dragonite hits like an absolute truck, but Virizion has very respectable bulk. Kitkat tanks the Dragon Claw, throws one double kick, and the double resisted Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade isn't lethal, but that's even better for us as we get one further double kick. The opponent's final Pokemon is Poliwrath, and Poliwrath is not going to appreciate the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade gets the opponent down below half health. Kitkat able to reach the next Leaf Blade, and once again pulls off a come from behind victory, proving you don't need XLs to win in the Open Ultra League. And that is a 4-on-1 set. Heading into the next battle. Does Virizion ever win a lead? To be honest, this one isn't all that bad, especially when you're running Stone Edge. The opponent throws an alignment, however I don't really blame them as they would need to go all the way to 5 Volt Switches for good fast move timing. Kitkat tanks the lunge, full sends the Stone Edge, which gets shielded. We then see their pivot into Kanto Muck. Does the opponent discharge or do they be degenerate and throw the lunge? The opponent actually throw a discharge, looking to get off some damage on our Kanto Muck and then send out Cresselia. Cresselia is greeted with the Dark Pulse. Despite being super effective, doesn't even do half their health. The opponent is going to need to full send a Future Sight to secure the knockout. The opponent throw the Grass Knot. We withstand the damage and reach Dark Pulse. Number 2, this Dark Pulse won't be lethal, but it might put it into Poison Jab farm down range. We just don't quite hit hard enough. However, despite not flipping switch, Kanto Muck did put in a lot of work. We send out Ampharos, get the Volt Switch farm down. We've got a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Back out comes the Spider. Kitkat able to outpace to the Brutal Swing, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We then pivot back out into Virizion, looking to absorb the damage. Lunge does land the heavy neutral damage, however the opponent's going to be unable to Volt Switch farm us down. They then pivot out into Tapu Fini. That's an interesting play, trainer, as Virizion's going to be able to reach 2 Leaf Blades, putting this thing into perfect Volt Switch farm down range. The opponent does Water Gun farm us down, but this is just game over. Kitkat still has 2 Protect Shields, 2 high behind. We shield up the Surf, commit to the Volt Switch farm down, and we can go for the BM Focus Blast if we so choose. Kitkat gonna shield up the incoming lunge, and why not throw the BM Focus Blast? Because it's funny. Hi Spider, bye Spider, GG's and thanks for playing. I know bad manners plays aren't to everyone's taste, but I do find it quite funny. Another Galvantula lead. This one is a Shadow, so somewhat more scary. Again, we see the opponent looking to force the debuff as soon as possible, firing off the lunge. The Shadow variant looks like it will definitely knock out with 2 lunges again. Kitkat absorbs the damage, full sends the Stone Edge, and we're seeing Deja Vu with the pivot into a Alolan Muck. Is this person a degen? Yes they are, they fire off the lunge and then send out Mandibuzz. I have a sneaky feeling the opponent's final Pokemon is going to be Jellicent. I did showcase this team a couple of seasons ago. It's very toxic, very annoying. Unless you've got Ampharos, then you're just laughing. If my team read is correct, all Kitkat needs to do is just save 2 shields for Ampharos and we're going to sweep the back line. Mandibuzz opts to throw 1 further charge move. We see the instant no shield deployed. The foul play does secure the knockout. Kitkat now sends in Ampharos. Ampharos going to get a huge Volt Switch farm down. Kitkat not interested in shielding up. This next foul play, Mandibuzz hits like a wet noodle. Kitkat then looks to catch the next foul play onto Virizion. The catch is unsuccessful. The opponent fire off the aerial ace, securing the knockout. Kitkat putting all her hopes and dreams on Ampharos. The opponent's final Pokemon is Jellicent. The team read was a good one. Brutal Swing lands for huge super effective damage. Kitkat got so much energy. We fire off the next Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Kitkat, of course, going to be shielding up the incoming Surf. Galvantula is energy dry. Kitkat throws 1 further Volt Switch and the Brutal Swing. Hi Jellicent, bye Jellicent. When Galvantula does return, I think we're going to BM this Spider as well. Kitkat running out of HP. Charge move does do 1 damage, however we've got more than 1 HP. So we don't get KO'd through the shield, throw the BM Focus Blast, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's. Heading into the next battle. Virizion into a lowland sandslash. The opponent instantly retreat into Decidueye and we respond with Kanto Mock. This is a pretty nice spot for Kanto Mock to be in, as our quick move of Poison Jab does hit Decidueye for neutral due to grass taking super effective from poison and ghost resisting. We also resist the Frenzy Plants. The opponent's forced to throw Spirit Shackles. I believe it's got a 33% chance to lower our attack or defense, I'm not entirely sure, but either way the opponent's 0-2 for debuffs. Kanto Mock showing its bulk, tanking 2 charge moves, throwing the second Dark Pulse and forcing both Protect Shields. Kitkat, happy with Kanto Mock's contribution, gaining us a 2-0 shield advantage, sends out Ampharos. Ampharos looking for the resisted Volt Switch farm down. Do we respect the Frenzy Plant? No. Kitkat calls the Spirit Shackle. The opponent again gets no debuff. I'm sure it's supposed to have some kind of debuff chance, but the opponent is getting so unlucky. Kitkat finally Vest Protection leaves at 100 energy, back out, comes Sandslash, and if they don't know about that Focus Blast coverage, they just found out, get that Sandslash out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is Trevenant. Trevenant not going to appreciate this Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing lands for huge damage. We pivot out into Virizion. Even a Shadow Ball won't be lethal. We see Kitkat flex, the opponent masturbates like a potato and then concede the match. GG's. As the opponent went 0-4 on Spirit Shackle debuffs, I actually looked on PvPoke. It's got a 33% chance to lower your defense by 1 stage. A bit random as Crunch is 30. Why do we need 33? I have no idea, but it is what it is. Surprise, surprise, another lost lead. We see the pivot into Kanto Mock. We're over 16 minutes into a video and I don't think we've won a single lead. Where the hell are all the Polyraphs? Oh wait, we had Sandslash. That was a 1 lead, so I take it back. Kanto Mock Say Switch apparently putting in work as the opponent has no response. They say him with Giratina. Kitkat would have been able to reach 1 further Dark Pulse. The opponent's forced to throw energy. Kitkat now sends out Virizion. Giratina pretty close to Stone Edge range, but I really like this overfarm from Kitkat. Getting residual energy for whatever the opponent has in the back. Kitkat actually throws the Leaf Blade. I really don't agree with that play, as Kitkat now going to be forced to dump 1 further Leaf Blade. So the first real mistake from Kitkat, getting greedy. However, the opponent actually shields a Leaf Blade. What is going on? This Leaf Blade will now be lethal and the opponent double shields. Okay, we're in shambles. Kitkat now shields as well. We then pivot out into Ampharos. The opponent sends out their own Shadow Ampharos. Kitkat reaching for the Focus Blast and we get there. Hi Ampharos, bye Ampharos, get wrecked. The opponent's very strange shielding decision now becomes apparent as they had no response for Virizion. Once Giratina was out the way, Kitkat gonna shield up the Icy Wind. However, trainer, no debuff, will be saving you from the wrath of our Shadow Ampharos. Kitkat fires off the Focus Blast, securing the knockout. We Volt Switch farm down Giratina and take that game. Normal service has resumed with a dreadful lead. I don't ever want to see anyone complain about lost leads. If you ever complain, just stick this video on and see how Kitkat overcomes rough lead after rough lead. We force a Protect Shield with the Thunder Punch. The opponent then answers our Kanto Mock Say Switch with Giratina. We land the Dark Pulse. Oof, that does a lot. This isn't enough for a Shadow Force, so we'll survive any other move. Shadow Force, an absurdly expensive move. It takes 12 Shadow Claws for the first one, which is ridiculous. Kitkat tanks both, thinks she'll reach the next Dark Pulse. What recognition of her IVs. Trust in her Mock, and Mock does not disappoint. Kanto Mock, you monster. Kitkat has Flip Switch, and we can now align our Ampharos with this Talonflame. This bird has a whole heap of energy, so I think Kitkat is going to be forced to double shield. The opponent likely throw 2 flame charges and then pivot into their third Pokemon. Trainer, you're going to get farmed down. Trainer, you're going to get farmed down. Kitkat gets the full Volt Switch farm down. And what a strange team from the opponent. ABA, Fire, Flying. The first Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Kitkat then makes a savage catch, catching the Dragon Claw onto Virizion. If the opponent gets greedy, we're going to reach the Stone Edge. The opponent about to have a very bad day as Stone Edge double super effective and Kitkat takes that game. Beautifully done. GG's. And that is actually a very nice 5-0 set. Heading into the next battle. Another lost lead. Kanto Mark, do your thing, buddy, on the say switch. The opponent stays in. It looks like we won CMP there. However, we certainly don't win CMP. It looks like the opponent actually lagged a turn. So we actually get to fire first and we sneak a poison jab. With that sneak, Kanto Mark should just about farm down. Let's go, Kanto Mark. Holy, this Kanto Mark puts in work. The opponent now sends out Jellicent. Jellicent is greeted with the Dark Pulse. The opponent looking for the Hex. Farm down, but Mark again just refusing to die. Reach the departing Thunder Punch, forcing a Protect Shield. We could send out either Pokemon, but I like this play. Sending out the bulkier one, looking to absorb the energy. The opponent bait with a Surf. Trainer, why would you bait there? As we definitely aren't shielding from full health. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. The opponent masturbate once again. This is why I don't bait. Because when people call it, it's just savage. The opponent's final Pokemon is Lantern. And to be honest, Trainer, that was played so poorly. Moving on to the next one. Yet another Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. Kitkat throws the Thunder Punch but loses CMP. That's a bit of a risky CMP. As if the opponent wouldn't have thrown, we would have gave away 5 free turns. Kitkat tanks the Flame Charge, force a Protect Shield with the Thunder Punch. The opponent now send out Air/Mandy. It looks like Kitkat is going for an undercharge. I don't particularly know why, but perhaps Kitkat is cooking up something, or perhaps she just got distracted. I often get distracted, usually just patting my dog or petting my dog or giving her a treat or something random. For those of you dog lovers out there, I've got a French Bulldog and a Staffy, and they're both incredibly cute. However, let's stop with my distraction and get back to the commentary. Kitkat sends out Ampharos. We tank the foul play. Kitkat going to get a very nice Volt Switch farm down. The opponent certainly won't be returning with Talonflame. Holy, triple weak to Electric. What a team comp from the opponent. Unfortunately, our Ampharos on this moveset can only hit Tapu Fini for resisted. But then Volt Switches have got this thing into more or less Leaf Blade range. Kitkat putting all our hopes and dreams on Virizion with a 2-to-1 shield advantage. Of course, we're going to have to start shielding absolutely everything. The opponent still has 1 Protect Shield, 2 high behind, but Kitkat full send in the Stone Edge. Stone Edge forces a Protect Shield. These boosted Incinerates absolutely melting us. Kitkat invests her final Protect Shield. We then throw 3 double kicks and the Stone Edge. Holy, we're low. We need to survive the Water Gun. Stone Edge, of course, takes care of Talonflame. Can we survive the Water Guns and reach the Leaf Blade? Yes, we can, but is Leaf Blade enough to knock out? Yes, it is. Who was worried? Kitkat pulls off a 1 HP and a Dream Dob. In the next battle, we see a very rare 1 lead. The opponent's say switch into Jellicent, which of course is by no means a Virizion answer. Kitkat fires off the Leaf Blade, forcing herself early shield advantage. We then see their pivot into Mark. I like this switch as Mark has an alright matchup here and doesn't have a particularly good matchup against the opponent's lead. Kitkat continuing to farm up. This is enough for a Shadow Ball, but again we see the no shield. The opponent full send the Shadow Ball, but Mark survives on very low HP. We fire off the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse lands. We look to reach the Thunder Punch. Unfortunately, we get no new mechanic, and the opponent does now have the option to realign. However, as we've got a 2-to-1 shield advantage, I'm already thinking of the prospect of Focus Blast Ingredient. The opponent continuing to go straight Shadow Ball all the way, and Shadow Ball rocks Virizion below half health. We throw the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade secures the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Trevenant. We fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge should put this thing more or less into Brutal Swing range. We pivot out into Ampharos. Out comes Greedent. Come on, Kitkat. You know you want to YOLO the nuke. We see the instant no shield deployed. That body slam did a lot of damage. Kitkat gonna YOLO the Focus Blast. Focus Blast goes unshielded. Get that Greedent out of here. Ampharos is running out of HP. Kitkat has 2 Protect Shields, 2 high beyond. Can we reach double Brutal Swing? Kitkat looks like she's committing to our Ampharos. We're in the red. Come on, Ampharos. Survive these Shadow Claws. Kitkat gonna fire off the first Brutal Swing, which of course will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Can we survive 2 more Shadow Claws? Yes, we can. And Ampharos is gonna pick up the dub. GG's. Judging by the huge amount of lag, the opponents very annoyingly force close the app. Moving on to the next battle. Virizion into Clefable. Yikes. This is going to be one of the very rare situations where we're going to say swap Ampharos, as of course Kanto Mark is our hard check. The opponent sends out a lowland golem. They fire off the rock blast. We withstand the damage. Kitkat full sends the focus blast. Focus blast goes unshielded. Let's go. Alolan Golem made a very brief cameo appearance. The opponent's final Pokemon is Giratina. Do we survive this Dragon Claw? Again, Kitkat knows our IVs so well. I think this is one of the advantages of running the same team. For numerous days, Kitkat has grinded this team for a few days and she knows our matchup so well. The opponent now give up switch, sending out Clefable. We chip him with the Leaf Blade pivot into Kanto Mark and the opponent instantly concede. In the next battle, we see another fairy in the lead. This one is on Charm, which is definitely worse for us. We pivot into Ampharos and the opponent is staying in. Unfortunately, we can only hit him for resisted, but Focus Blast probably still does a lot. Focus Blast, force to Protect Shield. The opponent now very annoyingly commit to the full Charm Down, Farm Down. Sylveon does have Legacy Psyshock, which it did get on Eevee Community Day, which also is going to hit us for super effective, but Kanto Mark so bulky, literally doesn't care. The opponent now sends out Glitterpod, another thing that Virizion doesn't fancy the work of, as it likely runs Aerial Ace that would hit us for double super effective. We shield the Liquidation, return fire with the Thunder Punch. Kitkat now aggressively sends in Virizion. Aerial Ace, a pretty trash move. However, it is double super effective and holy crap, it does like 75%. Beautiful overfarm from Kitkat. We fire 3 double kicks firing off the Stone Edge 1 turn before the next Aerial Ace. That overfarm is going to allow us to reach a Leaf Blade against the returning Sylveon. Leaf Blade gets the opponent low. They do get the full Charm Down, Farm Down. We send in Mark. Mark gets the Poison Jab, Farm Down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Ampharos. And I think Kitkat is actually going to win. The opponent is now going to be 2 Volt Switches away from the next charge move. So we need to be 1 Poison Jab away from the next Dark Pulse. No, we're not there. The opponent overfarms. Trainer, what are you doing? It takes the opponent 3 Volt Switches, then 2. I've got no idea why the opponent didn't throw. But regardless, we're going to take that game. In the next battle, we see the basic bitch Tin Can. Ironically, this isn't a great matchup without Sacred Sword. However, the opponent certainly doesn't know we haven't got it. And you can always fake it till you make it. The opponent farm up some energy, then send out Galarian Zapdos. We land the Stone Edge pivot into Ampharos. Ampharos likely is going to shield once and Volt Switch farm all the way down. The opponent YOLO the close combat. That definitely would have one-shot. Back out should come Registeel. The opponent is going to outpace us to a Focus Blast. We have been chipped. Again, we see Kitkat, no and IV, surviving on minimal HP, returning fire with her own Focus Blast. Focus Blast goes unshielded. Get that Reggie out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is a 2-shielded Shadow Charizard, a very scary Pokemon. We send out Kanto Mark. We know Kitkat loves to call the bait, but I see no reason for the opponent to bait. However, they do, we call it, and that should pretty much be all she wrote. The win con for Kitkat now will be the fast move beatdown. Mark isn't in Dragon Claw range yet, but Kitkat opts to catch the next Dragon Claw onto Virizion. Kitkat's just got to keep tapping her phone. The opponent going to be unable to wing attack farm us down. They throw the Dragon Claw, which will secure the knockout on Virizion, but 1 Poison Jab is going to take the dub. Moving on to the next one. We see the Battle of Fighters. This matchup isn't actually all that bad for Poliwrath this season. Now they have access to Icy Wind, however the opponent safe switches into Cresselia and we respond with Mark. We know Kitkat never shields. Does the opponent have Future Sight? Ouch. Mox Bulk has been pretty impressive thus far in the video, but Future Sight a very hard hitting move. Although to be honest, Mock did survive, which is quite impressive. We land the Dark Pulse, the opponent opts to throw the Grass Knot, looking to get Mock out of here. Switch isn't all that important to be honest, as Kitkat does have 2 responses for the Poliwrath. The opponent throw the Grass Knot on alignment. Thank you very much for the 3 Volt Switch. We shield up the Grass Knot. Kitkat then overfarms, fires off the Dark Pulse or Brutal Swing. It's definitely a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing does secure the knockout. Back out comes Poliwrath. Kitkat full sending the Focus Blast on what looks like to be a CMP tie. Focus Blast forces a Protect Shield. I've just noticed as well, this isn't actually a legacy counter Poliwrath. It's still running Mudshot, which is a lot better for our Virizion. Although the Mudshot variant is a lot more spammy to the Icy Winds. The opponent fires off the Icy Wind, an easy tank for Virizion, then make a very nice catch. Onto Greninja, essentially just sacking it. Greninja survives the Leaf Blade. Can Kitkat double kick farm this down? The opponent fires off the hydro cannon. It looks like we can't survive another, so Kitkat opts to throw the leaf blade, looking to get Greninja out of here. Back out comes palyer after we fire off one double kick and the leaf blade, so 3 turn into 2 turn. You always want to throw on odd numbers, and Kitkat doesn't let me down. We then bank the leaf blade, pivot into Ampharos, looking to catch the icy wind. It looks like the opponent actually no-bubbled that, looking to farm us down or do something. I've got no idea, to be honest, but this is just game over. The next icy wind still doesn't take us out. Kitkat reaches the focus blast, and that is going to be all she wrote. Heading into the next battle, we'll lead Virizion into another Shadow Dragonite. Of course, we're going to say switch into Kanto Mark. A lot of these Dragonites do come with Tapu Fini, so a lot of opponents don't really have a great response. Although back in the day, they did run double steel, which would be dreadful. However, now counter Polyraphs here, there, and every fucking where double steel isn't all that viable. Kanto Mark again has gained a shield advantage. There's no point in shielding as we're at such low health, so Kitkat just lets Muck go down. We're now going to send in Virizion. Dragonite we seen last time only takes around 15% from the leaf blade. The opponent fire off the Dragon Claw. I'm not even sure if this is leaf blade range yet. Let's see. Leaf blade does knock out. The opponent now sends in Skeledirge, and we respond with Ampharos. The opponent stays in, looking to force a Protect Shield. Kitkat, of course, going to oblige. If the opponent stays in, it's going to be 1 Volt Switch and the Brutal Swing for good fast move timing. I've got no idea why another Incinerate snuck. We must have got 1 turn lag, but trust me when I say that is good fast move timing, as Volt Switch is a 4-turn move and Incinerate is a 5-turn move. Oh baby, the opponent sends out Greninja. We've got Focus Blast. Greninja straight in and straight out. Skeledirge is going to Incinerate, farm down. However, we're only 1 double kick away from the Stone Edge, and Stone Edge is going to be more than enough to secure the dub. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the final battle of the video. Rough lead. We're going to pivot into Ampharos. The opponent's actually running Snarl, so that wasn't all that bad for us. The opponent now send out their own Shadow Ampharos. We farm up, look to throw the Focus Blast, but lose CMP. The opponent fire off the Brutal Swing. We withstand the damage. However, the opponent certainly isn't going to withstand this. Focus Blast goes unshielded. Get that Ampharos out of here. And the opponent says, fuck this. Concede the match. Probably uninstall the game. You get what I'm saying. And that, unfortunately, is going to draw to a close today's showcase. Huge shout out to Kitkat. Despite her playing for less than 1 year, you can see that her gameplay is top tier. She actually lost probably around 75% of leads, but still managed to win more or less every game, which is very, very impressive. So if you want to improve as a battler, there's numerous things you can do. First of all, as I keep preaching, fast move timing is paramount. I'm going to look to put a video together for fast move timing, so look forward to that one in the coming days. Of course, other things you need to do to improve as a battler is make sure you're counting. Learn your typing effectiveness and get to know your Pokemon. You can see numerous times in this video, Kitkat no shielded. Her Pokemon survived on minimal HP and she was able to reach 1 further charge move. When you get more advanced in the game, or you become a bit of a geek like myself, you can go to PvPoke and start learning how much energy each quick move generates. However, I think I'm just bambling now, so let's end it there. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.